What is good, guys? It's Ronald Kabang, also known as Youcapper from sportsmemo.com. Welcome to another episode of Let's Cap. Yesterday, we had Shark in the building. Today, we got the other half of the legendary duo. Personally, when I see them together, I kind of call them salt and pepper. And when we're all three together, we're the salt and pepper chicken wings. But we got NBA capper J Money in the building.
You
I know
never
we
told
just
me
that's what I say to my wife. I know we just finished your show with Ralph, but what's good, Jay? I saw your message on Twitter. You're heading to Chicago.
yeah. I might be doing a little meetup there. You see what I'm saying? I don't like to let too many people know where I'm at, but it's still don't worry. But it's all positive vibes though. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I
Yeah,
might
yeah.
do a little meetup there. Bring some shirts, man. If y'all can support, if you watching this, I'm gonna bring us some shirts to Chicago if y'all can, man. Look out for me one time for the one time, man. But
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
man. So where the spots at up there, man? So you
Yeah,
know what I'm
I like.
saying.
I sent a message. It's Oshaval and Green Street Meats. Those are my two favorite spots out there in
Man,
Chicago. So
send me
I
all
know
that.
people. Yeah.
Send me all that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They in good
But
parts
let's
of town, right? Don't
yeah,
have
yeah. I
any.
mean, yeah, yeah. You should be able to get through there. It's pretty
Man,
nice.
I'm
You
bringing
might get. You
scrap.
might have to wait
Yeah.
a little bit though. That's the
Oh,
thing
okay.
though, because these spots are really hot.
Hey, the
But
scraps
yeah,
gonna be ready.
let's get into the NBA playoffs here. First, I want to talk. You don't want to. I know you don't want to talk about it too much, but Dallas Mavericks
No,
versus
it's
Golden State
good.
Warriors. Obviously, we seen what happened. They Warriors took care of business early and often. What are your thoughts on what happened yesterday, and what can we expect from the Mavericks moving forward to see what kind of adjustments do they need to make for them to compete in the series?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, right? I mean, guarding the guys, I think it comes down to them. They're trying to be like the Warriors. They're shooting a lot of threes, so I mean, it's not a ton for me to say. If they're gonna miss threes, they're gonna get blown out. If they make the threes, then they'll have a chance to win the game. It's pretty much that simple. At one point, it was like a 5 or 6 point game, even when they had only made like four. They were on like 4 for 22 for three. So maybe try to get to the paint a little bit. Obviously, as the series goes on, you got to have to figure out their defense, figure out how to
Mm-hmm.
guard. Well, Curry and Thompson didn't really have a good game to start off, so just be interested to see what happens. There's a lot of anomalies of the game one. You got to win. You got to play a little bit better than that on the road. Obviously, they weren't getting the calls, but the games will also go how they're riff. So I mean, it'd be interesting to see how this goes from game to game, my guy.
Yeah, I think, like you said, game to game. I think this series game two is going to be a lot different. Just like I think game two for today's game is going to be a lot different than the first one. We both knew that the spots here were against the away teams because of the rest factor and just how they played physically in the previous series. So, yeah, I definitely see the Mavs coming out game two a lot stronger. We'll see where the line is. I haven't seen what if it's opened up yet, but it's going to be definitely a different game. Game two, we're going to expect something stronger from the Mavs side. Moving on to the next one, we got today's game, Celtics versus the Heat. Heat -3.5. I think we're seeing some threes now. Total at 207. Some injury news. We're seeing possibly Smart coming into this one. He might be active. Horford has moved from doubtful to questionable, and then Derek White is going to be out for this game for personal reasons. To me, I think big impact with Smart coming back and Horford. His official status is going to be big on the line as well. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's Celtics or nothing for me here, man. Y'all see the background. I'm at the. We're gonna have a watch party at the arena. You see what I'm saying? So even though I'm not down there in Miami, the streets of Boston still gonna be rooting the team on. But I still hadn't bet the game yet, Ronald. That's the thing
Mm-hmm.
about me, bro. I mean, I find a spot that I really like. I'm all over it. Let's put it that way. Something that I don't really feel about. I don't bet games. It's like you know what I'm saying? I could see anything happening. So it's Celtics or nothing for me here. I still lean that way. I'll probably end up putting a couple of bucks on it, but it's nothing major
Mm-hmm.
for me to be honest with you. So man, I probably it's gonna be good games. I like to watch them and enjoy as a fan. So the games that I have
Mm-hmm.
big bets on, I can't watch them and enjoy. So if I really want to enjoy the finals, then I can. You know what I'm saying? I kind of take a step back from the betting perspective. So I always say these games get harder and harder, but I do think the Celtics going to win this series, and I think they're going to win one of these first games, one of these first couple of games over there in Miami. This is the second one. We see the Celtics come out there hot first quarter, first half last game without Smart and possibly Horford as well. They might get him back. Smart's back for sure. I got the green shirt on here. I wouldn't. Let's put it this way. I expect the Celtics to win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Heat won, but I do expect the Celtics to win this game, my guy.
Yeah, this one is a tough one for me too. Like you said, I haven't placed a bet on this game either. One thing that I'm waiting for really is Al Horford, and what I want to bring up here is a little bit of the SDQL portion of our show. Obviously the show is called Let's Cap, and I want to be able to showcase, some of the aspects of the sports betting process or the capping process that I do. One thing that I looked at last night was how do the Celtics do with Al Horford out? Because last night, obviously, he was doubtful. Today, he's questionable. And this is the reason why I want to wait on Al Horford's official status, is because of his impact on the defensive side of the ball. One thing that I noticed was this season, they were 5-9 straight up, 9-5 against the spread, and 11-3 to the over without Al Horford. So his impact on the defensive side of the ball is huge, because you can see in the games here, 14-game sample size within the regular season and in the playoffs, they're allowing 115.64 per game. That's a lot higher than their average. When the Celtics are at full strength. Another thing to note too is from a defensive rating perspective, when he's out of the lineup, their defensive rating is up to 114. With him, it's 106.5, and that's actually a bigger gap than with and without Marcus Smart. So that's one of the things that I've actually seen, even with Marcus Smart being the defensive player of the year. The way that Horford affects the defensive side of the ball, the help defense that he provides, the paint defense that he provides, that is a huge impact that they're going to be missing today if he's not on the court. So for me, I would lean towards the over because of that aspect if he is out. But as far as the side perspective, one thing that I was looking at here is I want to bring up Spodevs is another site that I use. How do the Heat do in specific situations? And more specifically, as home favorites in conference games. So I'm going to bring up this season. I should have typed this out earlier. So what I brought in was when the team is the Heat this season in a conference game and they're the home favorite, they're 24-5 straight up, 18-11 against the spread. You can kind of see that what we're bringing in here is through the regular season and the playoffs. So you can see some of these playoff stats here. In this spot here, specifically in the playoffs, they've won every single game as home favorites. They've only failed to cover just one. And you can see that the little span of unders as well here. But in this series, the game one obviously went over. I think is because of the impact of certain players not playing on the Celtics side. And another thing too, if we add to the fact that they're playing a winning team, then it starts to impact the spread. 15-5 against the spread, 18-2 straight up, and these are all playoff caliber teams with a winning record. But again, this is in the playoffs we got to take it game by game, and we got to understand this current situation with Al Horford. That he's one of the biggest He's one of the biggest pieces to me in whether or not I actually play this game. So I would probably wait for the status here. I think if he plays, there probably will be a big shift in the line, and I would probably move towards the Celtics in that spot in that case. But right now, as it stands, if he's not playing, I can only look towards the Heat. But like I said,
I'm starting to think Celtics first half is the play because they could do it even without Marcus Smart. You see what I'm saying? They come out there and cover that first half. And if I remember correctly, the Heat game 2 versus the Sixers, where they still end up smacking them up, the Sixers still came out with something there in their first quarter and first half. So the Heat kind of usually will kind of lean like it's more of them full game where we saw it first game as well. The third quarter was huge. So maybe first half the Celtics, and I already think they're going to come out with better defense and more sense of urgency as well. Now that I think about this, Celtics first half is probably the look. Coming to talk out games as well. I hadn't bet anything. I'd like to talk some games out with you. I think that makes a lot of sense to Celtics first half.
It does, and this is another thing that I brought up. When I was looking at Al Horford, when they play without Al Horford, you can kind of see here in this 14-game sample size, they do have a good first quarter. They come out with a lead for 4.2 point gap in the first quarter, and even leading into the second quarter, right? They would typically have a lead in the half. Then you see the second half gap right there, and that goes to the depth factor, right? Without the depth at the center and power forward position on the Celtics side, obviously the opponents are going to have to make some adjustments in the second half, exactly how Miami did in the first game. So it kind of goes with the trend here. That's something that we could probably take a look at and dive deeper into
Ronald.
this before. Yeah.
They did smack up Philly though, but I don't like to compare series because obviously Philly they weren't full strength, they didn't have Embiid, and the
Yeah.
Heat still kind of struggle with their ass anyway. Even you know what I'm saying. So I don't
Yeah.
know. They didn't cover the first quarter or first half though. The Heat did cover the first quarter, first half, the second game, but like I say, it was a different team regardless. The Celtics
That
are a
was
different beast. They've been put out the playoffs before by the Heat. And see what I'm saying? They
yeah.
remember that shit, Ronald. I'm telling you, they do.
Revenge. Yeah,
I'm
but
telling you,
what I
this
was
ain't no
just showing
damn
with
bubble.
the lead, that was towards the Celtics. So I do agree. Celtics first quarter, first half might be might be a good look. It might be the same game flow. That's one thing that we need to look at in the playoffs. Is it's game by game. You got to see each situation, at the level that it is. So to me, I'm not gonna play this game until I hear official status on Al Horford. I know you're leaning towards the Celtics. So we'll see how this game goes. This is going to be a really good series. Both series are going to be really great. For now, let's move over to the WNBA. We got the Lynx here and the Aces. Aces minus 11.5. Totals at 169 here. I know you probably don't have a lot to add to this one. I know we spoke about a little bit about this on your show here. One thing that I wanted to bring up though was what Ralph brought up on your show, the double-digit spreads here. So what I brought up here on Give Me the Dog is when the line is when the team is a double-digit favorite, they won the last game and covered the last game. Not to fact check Ralph or anything, but this is exactly what he mentioned. It is 41.8% towards on that side. So this is a spot where we could probably look towards a long-term trend here, fading the double-digit favorite here of the Aces. And for me, there's more support than just this. Obviously, with the Lynx coming off their first win against the Sparks, I think they have a little bit of momentum coming into this one. Mariah Jefferson coming into the starting lineup was a big addition, and then also Kayla McBride coming into the mix now in the last game. That gives the Lynx a solid backcourt duo now to support Sylvia Fowles in the post. And then the Aces side, they're a little bit of a sandwich spot here. So I think there's going to be a letdown offensively on their side. So to me, I think 11.5 is a little bit too much for this spread here. Any thoughts on this game at all?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me, bro. I'll tell you this. So I'm not a huge WNBA guy, but I'm only looking at spots to back the Aces here. The Lynx, they're coming off. Now, obviously, they were desperate. They needed a big win, right? And they got to the Sparks. And I remember talking about that game. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised the Lynx come in here and win this game, especially with the Sparks coming off 4 straight road games as well in their first home game. Some of this is just basketball IQ, period. So as far as capping it, even though it's women's basketball. Coming off that, now they are huge double-digit underdogs, but I don't know if the Lynx can score enough to stay in here with the Aces here, right? That's my whole thing. The Aces can run and gun. You need offense that can stick with them, and that's why they're 11-point favorites here at the house. So I'm not in a hurry to fade them. They could win this game by 7-8 points. It could happen. So I'm staying away from it, but I hope it makes sense. I'm not in a hurry to bet against the Aces. Not at any point in this season, unless we see this as like a major injury or something. But I really think Becky Hammond has a point to prove here early in the season and put the league on notice that they're here to win this effing championship this year. So that's just how I'm looking at it. It's how I'm looking at Aces game in general. Either I'm looking spots to bet on them or I'm staying off. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Aces come out here. So look, last game they had a lackluster start, but end up I believe winning the game by double digits. This one, maybe you probably expect them to get back to that first quarter fast start in this one. What you think about that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the Aces are the better team, I think, overall. Just looking at the current situation, game by game, this is a spot that you could kind of see that the Aces might be looking ahead. They're playing the Mercury again the next game. So it's a little bit of a sandwich spot here. And you obviously the Lynx are 1-4. They're the bottom team in the Western Conference. So they, this is a spot they could just look ahead and say, hey, let's just win the game. We don't care. I mean, obviously, when you look at these, they could just win this game by like 8 points, and you still cover the 11.5 spread. To me, though, I think in my opinion, Mariah Jefferson added to the starting lineup 2 games ago. She's averaging 18 points per game, 5.5 assists per game. That gives them a solid point guard. They didn't have the first 3 games. And then Kayla McBride comes in, scores 20 in the game that she comes back. She wasn't injured or anything. She came from Europe. She was just playing. She's in tip-top shape. You know what I mean? So
that's a good point.
I think so. To me, Kayla McBride and Mariah Jefferson are a huge impact in this offense. Both scored 20 plus in that last game. So I think it's a spot where we for me, I'm looking towards the Lynx here to at least cover the spread. I don't know if they win it, but 11.5 is a lot of points.
Ronald, what you're saying is this game's gonna go over. That's what I feel. I know they got fouls down there and shit, her big head, but regards to that, if you tell me that they got a couple guards back and scores, the Aces are going to run. Ronald, you know this. They're going to run and gun. That's all they're trying to do. Even if they lose and they're running and gunning. So if you're saying that this is going to be, if the Lynx can hang around here and they can score some points with the Aces, this game's going over.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing here. It's either it's a fast-paced game, like you said. Aces can only run and gun, and with the improved offense on that side of the Lynx, that's the only way I can see it. But for me, Lynx, and also that look to the over. I mean, that's definitely a good look here. Then the next one here, what do we got? We have the Dallas Wings and the Phoenix Mercury. I know you got something to say here about the Mercury and their chemistry right now. A lot of us saw that clip of the bench going at it, Skylar and Taurasi. Yeah, man, it looked pretty hard too. What are your thoughts on this one? We got the Mercury as a 5-point favorites right now. 161.5 is the total. Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, this is a tough. I mean, it's wings or nothing for me here. I'm hungry. I'm finna go get some food right after this show. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if it's gonna be wings, man. Not sure, man. But yeah, it's us against the books, man. Let's talk about some shirts, man. But when I lean wings here, anytime I see a team fighting around and stuff, it's not bet on material for me. You see what I'm saying? So now they could rally around each other if they had the type of coach to say, hey, look, guys, let's get ready. But I mean, they already got plenty of turmoil. Britt are missing Brittany Griner. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get her back. They're stressing out about this, all that good stuff. So I mean, it's not good. They have the revenge spot versus the Aces next as well, which you're coming off a loss, so it's hard to look ahead to the next team when you're coming off a loss. But still, I'm not laying points with the team that's fighting and stuff. And the Wings have showed, I believe they've covered 3 of the last 4 between 3 of the last 4 meetings. I know they won the last couple of games versus the Mercury for sure. You see what I'm saying? But regardless, here is Wings for plus the 5 or nothing for me. So look, the Wings have won 3 of the last 4 meetings versus the Mercury, and those were on the road here. So the 3 of the last 4 they won outright in Phoenix over there. So they've shown that was even last year. Now each year a young team like the Wings are going to keep building and getting even better. You see them go on the road. I mean, beating New York, that wasn't a huge task, but beating the Mystics on the road there was tough. They shown they can play well on the road. They're coming off getting smacked up by the Mystics as well by 16. I lean Wings here plus the 5.
No, I definitely agree. I do lean towards the Wings. I also lean towards the under here. Both teams coming off double-digit losses. 4 straight travel game. We were talking about this on your show. 4 straight travel game for the Wings. They're going to continue to travel too. Their schedule is jacked up, like Ralph said. But on the other side, Mercury coming off a 12-point loss to the Aces. Then they got to look ahead to a quick revenge to the Aces in their next game as well. This is a sandwich spot that we're looking on the Mercury that we could see them falling flat. Possibly both teams falling flat. Mercury on the sandwich spot, then Wings in the travel spot. So this is something where we could kind of see an under game here, and if it goes under, it's towards the dog here. So for me, I do also lean towards the Wings and the under. Any thoughts on the total? I know you're leaning the Wings, but any thoughts on the total on that one?
None whatsoever. I don't know, around that total, it's around like where you need around that 40 points a quarter. I'm not a total guy, to be honest with you. I know the Wings, 3 of their 4 games this year have went to the under. They can play some defense. I'd like to say I lean to the under, but then you get Tarazi and Skylar Dean Smith, which she was the one that was disgruntled. So you need her to be at her offensive best for an over. I'd like to say a lean under. If it should be wings and under or Mercury and over. So whichever side you
Yeah,
like, they're probably correlated.
that makes sense. Yeah. So that we talked about the NBA, we talked about the WNBA, we talked about wings. I'm hungry.
Damn,
Um,
I'm finna say.
I'm hungry now. So we're coming towards the end of the show, but I do one thing I want to close out with, Jay. I wanna ask you real quick. We're seeing a lot of new bettors come into the space, and you've been doing it for a while, especially how well you've been doing in the NBA, in the NBA playoffs. You have any advice? What's your top advice to the new bettors here that are following you, that are getting into this space, that you want to share, that you didn't really have that when you first started? What's your top advice for that?
Do y'all see the shirt? But now my first advice, guys, pick your spots. This is the playoffs now. There's only 4 teams left. There's only one game a day. Now I've noticed there's not many people betting, but there's nothing guaranteed for one, and these games get harder and harder. You see what I'm saying? As the playoffs gets on, it's harder and harder. So as it gets on, I'd like to step back as a fan more and more. Like I say, I'm not trying to get back money. If I have a spot, you pick and choose your spots wisely. That's my message to you. You find your spots. You know what I'm saying, put some on that game. You don't necessarily, there's different people out there. There's people that's trying to make money, and there's other people that do it just to have action, or that they just want to have bets out there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're a person that just likes to have action, you can't get mad when you lose. Now, if you're a person that's doing it, trying to do it professionally and take it seriously, then hey, you can get mad and you lose all, you know what I'm saying, because you're really putting in work into it. But if you're just gonna just sit down and watch a game and bet it, not even look into it and think it's easy, I mean, you can't get mad when you lose, guys, because you're just betting recreational. So I always say pick and choose your spots, my guys. That's what I like to do. I lean the Celtics tonight, first half and full game. I hadn't bet it yet, guys. So I don't, you know what I'm saying, I don't have the urge to bet games. If I see something I really like, then I take it. They get Horford in there, and Smart should be. I'll be putting a little something on the Celtics. I can tell you that right now, but it won't be anything heavy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, for me, in that NBA game, so we're just gonna go through the recap. Thank you for your advice too. That's something that the bettors want to hear, and the reason for the show. We want to teach people some of these things that we didn't know when we first started. So experience, just dropping knowledge and through experience. But to recap, for me on the NBA game, I want to wait for the Al Horford news. I don't think I'm gonna mess with the side here. I think it's too close for me to call. And for the total aspect, though, if Horford plays, I think I want to look towards the under. If he doesn't play, I'm gonna look towards the over there. On the WNBA side, I was looking towards the Lynx on the spread here, and look towards the over as well. And then for the Wings versus the Mercury, I'm looking towards the Wings as the dog. So both dogs in today's games, and then I look towards the under. In that game as well. So that's the recap here, guys. This is the end of the show. Jay, appreciate you as always for coming on. Once again, thank you guys all for joining in, basically, and tuning in and hitting, commenting on the chat room, show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Check out the links in the description below. As always, I always want to end with this. Please remember, whether you fade us or follow us, it's on you to make that call. Good luck on all your action. Till next time. Peace.